to the people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Welcome, Laura. Yes, welcome. Rabbit, say hi. What was that? Hey? Say hi to the people. Hey. She's been meowing here very nicely the whole time. Say hi. Hey? Psst. Rabbit. Say hi to the people. You're not going to meow now. Showing me up. Marius, look. Rabbit is here. Alright, let me get a timer going in the meantime. Right. Wow. Okay. Let me just turn this. Everybody say hello to Rabbit. I'm going to turn it so she's going to be out the shot. You're going to say hello to the people. Hey? Hey? No. Okay. She's a bitch. She's a cat. So what do you expect? Alrighty. Why does this feel so close? Welcome everybody. Another episode of Survival. She's a cat. Obviously she doesn't look impressed. Alright. So, what did you think of that episode? I kind of felt a little bit underwhelmed, actually. There, she's going now. She's done. See? I kind of felt a bit underwhelmed by the episode. Was it just me? Anyway, we'll get to some of the big high points and the low points in the game. But unfortunately, Rabbit, do not knock this video camera over. Come on. Unfortunately, one of our favorites, I think, is out the game. Jacques, we all loved him. I thought he had a game that a lot of us sort of respected. He has a personality. He played with a bit of humanity. And yeah, just sort of from my point of view, a fan of the game going home is kind of unfortunate and sad for me. So yeah, it's unfortunate that he's gone. I'm sorry about the shaking of the camera, but Rabbit is not. Come sit here then. Come here. Okay, just sit here. Just chill. Okay. Sorry. Oh, it's so irritating. Why is she annoying me so much? Okay, just sit there nicely for the people. Just sit. Sorry, everybody. Okay. Yeah, Bianca CM says, not just you, the episode was poo-poo. We can talk about the challenge, or the auction, should I say. But yeah, I don't know how I feel actually about this episode. Obviously Jacques is a huge super fan of the game, and he's watched a lot of Survivor. He's watched a lot of South African Survivor. He did a series similar to what I'm doing now for the previous one. So he knows the ins and outs of the game. He knows the twists and turns, although with LaRue and South African Survivor, they often do things a little bit more different to what the international Survivor does. So, for example, Jacques thinking that the Loved Ones challenge was going to be a couple episodes ago is completely wrong, because you have to factor in the budget and our rand versus what the Americans can do with all of their money. So it's an interesting place for him to be, where he's watched this game and maybe over everybody else in the game, and was sort of never able to hit home play as hard or dominate as much as he would have liked. So, I felt a little bit bad for him. And for me, the part that sticks with me is the again, I've spoken about this before, but the brutality of the game. If you think about it this way, right? So Jacques has an advantage to steal a reward. And LaRue has confirmed that if he had to play that advantage at the auction, he would have been able to steal. Once everything was revealed, he could have stolen the opportunity to go to Islands of Secrets. And he obviously wouldn't have known that Steffi's loved one or his loved one would have been waiting for him at Islands of Secrets. But it seemed kind of brutal that he had that opportunity and he didn't actually use it before he went home. And then he could have actually got his wish of seeing his wife. She would have been waiting for him there. So the brutality of the game is this, right? Jacques goes off now. He goes to Ponderosa. And his wife is essentially staying somewhere close by. And he won't be able to see her. That is how brutal this game is. They don't get to have a coffee. They don't get to have lunch. She's in Samoa at the same time as he is. And they will not get to see each other. It's something that happened on our season as well. PK's mom went all the way to the Philippines. He was voted out. She basically flew to the Philippines for 2 days for nothing. So that's where I talk about the brutality of the game. It's sometimes like cruel, man. And I understand the need for it to be that way in certain terms like this. Jacques can't speak to his wife because she can't know, she can't see him, she can't talk to him about the game, all those sort of things. Because even though he's on the jury, he's still a part of the game. And so I understand the necessity there, but it kind of feels very difficult to wrap your head around something like that. Okay, there's lots of comments already. Let's get to them before we move on. Everybody's saying hi to Rabbit. Next week Sparks start. When PK left your series, Sparks started. I was thinking maybe Durrell will win if he is Rob's lapdog, just like Tom was Vanna's. It would have been difficult to top last week. Yeah, you're right. Bianca CM says he was so close to seeing his wife. If only he held on to that hidden advantage in the auction. He should have played it there. So my question, nobody knew what the advantage was that was given to Jacques when he was at the bottom. Why not steal the advantage with his advantage steal? He could have. And he just, I don't know. I don't know. Can I take that? Okay, is anything else going to go shambolically wrong right now? Anyway. Let me just WhatsApp him. Wow, guys, sorry for this. He never phones. I'm never gonna upload this episode to YouTube. It's shambolic. Can't take your call right now. I'm on an Insta live. Wow. Anyway, moving on. Where were we talking about the advantage? So LaRue has said that his advantage, he could have stolen me now. What is happening? Another one, Stacey Lee. Can't take your call right now. Is something happening in the world that I should know about? On an Insta. Why are these people also not watching my Insta live? Okay, this is shambolic. Wow. Welcome to real life. I've never been more popular in my whole life. Is anything burning outside? Is the world falling apart? Why is everybody trying to get hold of me? No, loudmouth, you can't you can't phone me. And my brother's laughing at this. Get out of town, Garth. Get out of town. What is happening? All right. So we're talking about the fact that Jacques could have used his advantage. Yeah, he absolutely could have. And yeah, he just didn't. And that for me is a super sad thing. So essentially he's going home with an advantage in his pocket that he never got to use, which isn't the same as an idol. But if he knew he was so on the bottom, it was just sad, man. It was just sad. For him, yeah. Anyway, so let's see. Pretorius Leo Marie says, I'm Team Rob and Nicole, but the jury does not like them at the moment, so they are screwed. I'm interested, with no judgment here, why are you Team Rob and Nicole? I can understand Rob. I think he's had an exceptional game. It's, I think as a viewer, frustrating to watch somebody dominate the game so much, knowing that they're like really strong people and really strong players in the game, and you don't get to see them living their potential. But Rob, and honestly, you can't take anything away from him. He is playing a really solid game. I just think for us as viewers, we almost want as somebody mentioned before in the comments, sparks to fly now. And with Rob being so dominant and in the lead in terms of social game and his control over a lot of the other players, it seems almost like the ending is written. And for us as viewers, we like, in series that we watch, in movies, we like twists and turns, and at the moment it's playing out a little bit predictable. And I think not taking anything away from Rob, if he makes it all the way to the end, he deserves to win. And I don't like to use that word deserve, right? But I think he's played the game. I think he has had a social hold over the game like nobody else has. He's been able to manipulate and twist people and use people, but with honestly a lot of people still wanting to work with him. Mike and Doral, people like that are 100% like, oh, Rob's fine, you know, everything's cool. I really hope Doral, sure. I'm actually questioning Mike's game a lot right now. How is Mike still thinking that Doral is somebody that he can work with? He's had, both of them have been on the bottom, and I guess that's also testament to Rob's really smart gameplay, is that whatever he tells Mike to do, he tells Doral to do as well. And then he'll tell Doral, you know, the only reason I'm doing this is so that we can trick these other people. We need to split votes. But the other thing that concerns me is, like, how is nobody seeing Rob and Nicole's relationship? They're so close. They're hugging after every challenge. It's just fascinating to watch that dynamic and people not picking up on how close they are, because Mike somehow still thinks that Nicole is a part of them, and if he wants to bring her into these things, that she's going to follow them. And Nicole's playing actually a pretty good game. And somebody pointed out on the Reddit thread that Nicole actually socially in the game is playing really well. Once people leave the jury, then they realize how they've been played by her. But in the game, everybody still trusts Nicole, wants to work with Nicole. I'm not sure how the issue with Jacques and how that will play out now that the jury is going to find out exactly what happened. So Jacques just left. He didn't walk off the game, but he's left the game. And with him, he now goes onto the jury, and he goes to Ponderosa, and he interacts with the jury members. And now he gets to tell them what happened and how, and maybe he'll be quite humble about it and not really play up how brutal it was and how they treated him, because that could sway the jury, that kind of thing. They weren't there, they didn't know what happened, so Jacques going home now, and the person voted off before Jacques also going home, those kind of people who were there to see that happen, that's where the jury could potentially be swayed. And I don't know. We dislike Nicole. I say we, but somebody's just said I'm Team Nicole and Rob, so I'm not speaking on behalf of a lot of everybody, obviously. But I think I dislike Nicole just because of the. It's hard actually because of the way she deceives people, but that's the game, right? So deceiving people is part of outwitting and outplaying. For me, it's just about how she has. It's how she's done it, like manipulating and crying on command and trying to play this game where she's felt entitled to certain things and certain treatments, and how people should have handed her certain things in the game. That's for me the part that frustrates me with Nicole. But again, it's a game. You don't know how you're going to react in those kind of situations. Right. Sugar Supernova says, can you read me? I can. I can insult you as well, because reading is fundamental. If you don't know what that is, RuPaul's Drag Race reading. Oh, rabbit. Okay. I quit. What is happening, everybody? All right. I was going to say also, listen, next week, this is so embarrassing. Next week, I'm going to have an opportunity for one of you to win 2 tickets to the finale. Pay attention to this video right here. This video right here. Yeah. If you live in Cape Town and you are available on the 12th of September, you may be winning tickets to the finale. LaRue has given me 2 spaces. And let me tell you, these are tickets you cannot get your hands on. If you want to win them, make sure that you are here next week, 7:30, for the recap. I will ask a question about this week's recap next week. And if you get that right and you're in Cape Town on the 12th of September, you can be coming to the finale. So there you go. Okay, my brother's apologizing for phoning. Mother effer. Steffi goes to Islands of Secrets again. I know. I mean, and again, we've spoken about the fact that Jacques could have stolen that. I mean, where else would he? He knew he wasn't going to make it another round unless he found that idol. So maybe he was living on like a super, putting positive vibes out into the world, that he thought he was going to find the idol when he got back to camp. And we will talk about that. And then maybe he thought, I will have another opportunity to play my advantage steal. But why wouldn't you just steal that? A bacon and eggs breakfast is not worth it. It's not worth it. I don't know. All right, Maria says, I finally have a winner pick, but it pains me. Who is it? Who do you think is going to win? Bianca CM, I do have your question. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. It was too long for her to put on the comment section on Instagram, so I emailed it to myself, and we'll get there. He had the hopes of finding the hidden idol on the island because it gets brought back into the game. He thought he might have found the idol and kept himself in the game for one more tribal. Yeah, but that's not a guaranteed option to go to Islands of Secrets. There may have been an opportunity for him to get an even better advantage. So for me, the balance or the weight of maybe finding an idol, and I think we've all seen their beach, it looks hectic. So without a clue to a hidden immunity idol, and he's looked at in all the obvious places, you would have thought, and not being able to find that idol, yeah, I would have bet, if it was me, I would have bet on something I knew the outcome to. I would have bet on the fact that I can steal that right now, and the Islands of Secrets may have something better for me. That's what I would have gambled on, instead of trying to base it on something that may never happen. I may not find the idol. I may not be here tomorrow to play it. So for me, that bet was an incorrect call on his part. But again, I've said this many times, the fact that you are hungry, that you're tired, you're emotional, and maybe he didn't see it as like the reward. Maybe he never was ever going to play for anything else but the Loved Ones challenge. So in his brain, he was like, I wouldn't have done it. Like it maybe never occurred to him to play it for something else. But yeah, like it wasn't a huge advantage in the game where he would have been able to stay longer or something like that. But it would have been the whole reason that he went to Survivor, and how far he would have made it. He would have ticked that huge box. And right now, he's got a longing, a little bit of, he didn't get closure on that one thing that he went to Survivor to do and make the Loved Ones challenge. Let me tell you, Jacques' wife is a super fan as well. So that for her, she would have gone all the way there. I don't know if they get to sit in on watching a tribal council or watching the challenges. Like, I don't know if his wife now is going to sit in a hotel room while everybody else goes to the challenge. I'm pretty sure that that's what's going to happen again. Brutal. Maybe they'll take her out for lunch or something that day. But she, I don't think, will even get to go to the challenge to watch it. And as a super fan, that breaks my heart, man. Absolutely. Nobody looks at Nicole. She's friends with everyone, but she has to get past the jury. Yeah, that's my thing with Nicole. When they're on the island and there, she's fine. As soon as they move to the jury, I think the people on the island are okay with her. But once they move to the jury, they realize, firstly, that they've been playing her. And then secondly, every time she comments at tribal council, the jury don't take that very well. So something changes from when they're on the island. I mean, if you think of somebody like Jeffrey on the island was like, yeah, Nicole's fine, we're great. I don't want to lie to Nicole. I don't want to bring Nicole into all these things. And now that he's moved to the jury and it's completely different. He's like vitriolic towards her. So I think it was him who said something along the lines of she's nauseating. So there's a lot of change from being on the island and then realizing once you leave that Nicole played you. I don't know whether they would give her R1 million, but you have to admit that she has actually played quite well. She's managed to be in all of the strategic decisions. She's managed to manipulate and play the people very well. So love her or hate her, you can't deny that she's actually had a really good hold with Rob over the game. And maybe we've been blindsided by Rob's beauty and how beautiful he is. And maybe if you look at Nicole and you see the same thing, but Rob is the charm, whereas Nicole has like this ice cold, ice queen way about her. And maybe we get pulled into the charm of Rob than we do with Nicole. They're both beautiful people. So yeah, I think just Rob has more tact. He is more charm to him than Nicole does. So maybe, I don't know where this jury is, man. It's going to be interesting to see. Bianca CM says, then he could have used his advantage. He was definitely holding on to the thought and idea that sadly he couldn't find the idol. Man, oh man, that scene where they play out, where he's looking around the well and he sort of glances at that tree and moves on. Bruh. Jacques, did you look in that tree? Did you look in the tree, Jacques? Please. That sequence was... Imagine Jacques sitting at home, watching himself look around the idol, look for the idol around the well, and then walk away from the well and pass Letitia and see Letitia walk up and be like, oops, oh, there's an idol. I have some thoughts and feelings about Letitia and the idol, and I will share them in a couple minutes. I felt so sorry for him, Bianca. Strange how nobody else even thought about looking for an idol. Yeah, it's fascinating, hey? Sheldon was there, says, we do not have double standards for praising Rob while being anti-Steffi and Nicole. Do we not have double standards for praising Rob while being anti-Steffi and Nicole? I think Steffi and Nicole are two different players, though, for me. Nicole, again, I think that we have been double standards, and again, I think it's a fine line, and it's the gameplay, and it's the charm, and it's the way that they've played. So Rob, for me, hasn't been... and he's had moments where he's had that entitlement and he's had that double standards in play. But Nicole seems like affronted by the fact that other people are playing the game and she is doing the same thing but sort of judges them for that. And Steffi, I think, for me, has gone completely the opposite side. So for me, Steffi doesn't have the social gameplay that Nicole and Rob do. I think Steffi is out there to win challenges, to be that physical dominant person, but I think for me Steffi is polarizing to a lot of people because she has such a steadfast view of what is right and wrong, and in the game of Survivor cannot see where she has done the things that she thinks are wrong, but she's done them and cannot see that. So she's attacked other people for doing things that she's herself done, but cannot see that this person did wrong, but you also did the same thing. So then you basically done wrong yourself. So for me, I just think the social gameplay of Survivor South Africa right now is so clear for me. And again, how you see Rob and Steffi and Nicole it's a fine line, and I think for me Rob sits there on that side of the fence, whereas Nicole might be on the fence, but Steffi is definitely on the other side of the fence. That fence there being social gameplay, and how well have you treated people? How well have you lied and deceived people because that's a part of the game, but you've done it with them walking off the island going, sure, well done. And I think it's going to be very interesting the next couple of episodes. I really hope, and just for like storytelling kind of side, and I've mentioned this, that I really hope for a bit of sparks, but I don't know if it's going to happen. So many people have idols in the game now. Yeah, we can talk about who we think is going to be where, but it all depends on who wins immunity in the next challenge. That's going to be the big one. So yeah. Bianca is agreeing with Loudmouth. Tanya Letitia only looked because she saw Jacques looking all over. Didn't cross anyone's mind. It's so fascinating. I know that Vanna would have been up every morning. I know that I would have been searching. I think PK was searching quite a bit as well when he was on the bottom. And yeah, it's just something that you do. Look, we might not be seeing people look for idols because, again, I've mentioned this a couple times that when you're on the island and they're filming, they're trying to tell a story, and it's got to be a compelling, fun, dynamic story. And to see somebody just randomly searching in the bush for idols and then not finding anything is taking away from maybe an extra 30-second sequence at tribal council, or a 30-second around the fire, or a 30-second interaction with the jury. Do you know what I mean? So they might not put it in. It might be happening. We might just not be seeing it. So the fact that we see Jacques searching for idols in this episode is because he needed it desperately. And then we see Letitia looking for an idol, and we only see it because maybe she finds it. So that's not to say that other people aren't looking. We might not just be seeing it because, again, I don't want to see random people just digging in holes and looking for idols when I could be seeing more dynamic stuff in an episode. So we need to remember that they're telling a story. They're leaving a lot of days out. Remember, the episode is 55 minutes, but it's 3 days worth of footage that they are putting and editing down to 55 minutes. So they're leaving a shit ton of content out. So yeah, we need to remember that as well. Also, hats off to Mike for winning a very tough challenge. Yeah, man. Mike for me is he really, I have such a soft spot for him, and I was reading the Reddit thread, and some people don't like him, and I think that he's had a rough time. And again, you go on to Survivor and you want to be this certain type of player, and you get there, and it's hard to let go of who you are. And I think that Mike is a sweet human in real life, and I just think it's hard for him to pause that and to play the game. So I have a soft spot for him. He's in radio. He's a fan of the game. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how people are taking the wrong way. I do think he's blundered a lot of stuff, and he's trusted a lot of people. And you really go into the game wishing you didn't trust people, and put your blind trust into people and have it proven wrong week after week on screen in front of you. I mean, imagine how difficult it must be for Mike right now, watching him tell Durao everything, right? Him and Durao are in this game together, the long haul, and then watching Durao turn around and tell absolutely word for word everything that Mike has said to Rob. That must be excruciating to watch, knowing that you've put your game in somebody's trust and they turn around and they just tell the person that is running things. The throw forward to the next episode, I really hope I hope they're talking about Rob. And I hope that Durao sees the writing on the wall. And can we also just talk about the fact that Durao has this fake idol which looks exactly like a real idol. It was an idol. It just has no power. How has he not used that? That is a beautiful opportunity. Do you remember when Rob gave him his idol, right? Think about this for a second. Rob's given him a proper idol in the game. Imagine if Durao said, "Guy, I accept this, and to show you how much I trust you, I'm going to give you mine." Imagine that happened. Explosions. That would have been the hugest play in the game, and he would have had R1 million to play after with that move. Right? Imagine that. Rob gave him his idol, said, "Bro, you can have this. This is how much I trust you." And said, "You know what? I trust you just as much. I'm going to give you mine." Imagine that had happened. Imagine Durao gave Jacques the fake idol, and Jacques did the same thing. "I'm going to play this idol. Nobody can vote for me." Or, "I've got this idol. He wears it at tribal council," and everybody's like, "What the hell?" Imagine all of those permeations happen. He's got this tool, but he's not able to use it, and it frustrates me. Has he lost it? Does he still have it? Where is it? Anyway, that's another question. Please, can you talk about the jury comes last? Sheldon, are we talking about, did somebody say, oh yes, wow. That was Rob, right? Oh my God, that was a really interesting thing to watch. And I feel like maybe it's gonna, it definitely will come up if he makes it to final 3. The jury will definitely attack him for that. And think about the people who are sitting on the beach with him right now and make it to the jury. And then basically he tells everybody, I don't really care. That's such bad gameplay and terrible jury management. So yeah, it'll be difficult for him to come back from a statement like that. Somebody going, best Insta Live ever. Yes, like if you've missed it up until now, welcome LaRue. If you've missed it up until now, my cat was with me at the start, bumped over the camera. I got 2 calls, one from my brother during the thing, 2 of those, and then Stacey Lee phoned me, who I haven't spoken to in ages, and it's just been just ridiculous, so I'm going to have to edit this. I think I'm looking at Nicole with other eyes now. She's a bit of a manipulator, but I will stay team Rob. For me, we have to admit that Nicole has played well. She's still there. She's still got people who trust her. Mike, you have to admit it. The problem is that once the people go into the jury, and now that Jacques is at the jury, he's going to be able to tell them what happened at that moment. Maba would have been able to tell them how hectic things were, but Jacques will have that inside info and how bad he felt. If you watch his Ponderosa sort of after he got voted out, he said that was the lowest point in the game for him. And in a game that's exceptionally tough, to point out that moment and that treatment of him as the low point is going to be... Yeah, it may sway some jury members. So if Nicole had the support of a bunch of jury members, but by watching them and what they say about her nauseating, she says the same thing every time. Those are the comments that are coming from the jury. So I don't know. We think she may be playing a good game, but I'm not sure it's translating, because once the people leave the game, they realize how they've been played by her. And I think they're taking it really personally from her specifically. Whereas Rob... Again, it's such an interesting dynamic, because Rob, they don't seem to hate him as much as Nicole or Steffi. And for me, Steffi has gone, again, I think Nicole's in the middle, Rob is here, and Steffi is here. And Nicole has played this middle ground pretty well, but Steffi's gone too far, and Rob is the king. So that's like, it's tough too. Sugar Supernova says I should just give the tickets to Loudmouth. We'll see next week. Maria says he will pay for flights, don't need to live in Cape Town. The question is, how many times did someone phone me? Interesting. Hey, Lem is here. Guys, your comments have gone... can't get winner pick with 6 left. Yeah, it's hectic. Do you think anyone from Lau Mei can still win? Is Mike Lau Mei? He could still win, I think. Letitia could still win. And we'll get there. Shouldn't Nicole have swapped with Jacques to force him to get the cake and not an unknown item? What say Jacques, where Jacques should have stolen Steffi's reward, but Nicole should have taken his for sure? You've lost me. I hope Jacques got to visit his wife on Ponderosa. Nope, they did not. Nicole's problem would be that she isn't owning her game and is in denial that she is playing a villain game. I think Nicole is playing, but does she does she not have perception of how she comes across? I don't think so. And that's the interesting part. And also that part where they're just dismissing the jury. And remember I said Jacques was playing to the jury, Quibus was playing to the jury, Dante was playing for the jury. There were a bunch of people in this game who are playing. I think to a point actually Durao is playing to the jury, Mike is playing to the jury. And some people might look at that as like, oh, they're only playing to the jury. They need to recognize that the game is happening on the beach. But the people who are playing only on the beach and only for those people are doing themselves a disservice. You have to, that jury has the biggest decision in the game left. Like, it's just terrible gameplay. Bianca CM says, my heart broke for Jacques. I actually agree. I actually hope that Tani Letitia will play the idol for Jacques Mani. Maybe Jacques looked for the idol on the next day, but it was hidden later. Yeah, exactly. Those are the kind of things you don't know. I actually enjoyed Steffi this last episode, said Sheldon. She was becoming rootable again. Yeah, she did actually. Somebody did mention that she had sort of taken a bit of a step back into the game, and she was. Yeah, I did notice that something had changed in her, and do you know what it might have been? It's definitely the fact that she had the loved ones visit. That would have changed her. Again, you get so caught up in your own nonsense, and I had the same thing, right? Is I got so caught up in little things. I got so caught up in the fact that I couldn't win a challenge. Guys, you have no idea how irritated I would get. When I used to do confessionals, the producers would ask me, how are you feeling, John? And I would be bitter, and I'd be angry, and be like, I'm pissed off, man. I'm pissed off. I cannot win anything. I came here to win like something at least, and I thought I'd be better than that. And I had this like real anger inside of me. When I had the loved ones challenge, my loved one walked onto the island, and she was my best friend. I lived with Zinigi for 7 years. She is the closest person that I have in this world, and she just knew me, and she knew why I wanted to go to Survivor, and we'd watched Survivor together for years, and she knew that I was the biggest nerd for Survivor. She walked on. She said 2 sentences to me, and completely just changed my whole perception. She said to me, Jeanne, you didn't come onto Survivor to win challenges. Because she walked on, and I said, I'm sorry, Nings, you've come all this way because you're going to go home. You've come all this way for nothing. She said, you didn't come here to win challenges. And that sentence changed my mind. I went back and I went, I'm not here to win challenges. I'm not here to have a steak on the beach. I'm not here to have gin cocktails. I was here to win Survivor. And that little bit of like snap out of it, John. And it's the paranoia, it's the game, it sucks you in. You don't know where your mind is and what you're doing. And that loved ones challenge for me, that loved ones visit for Steffi was probably a game changer for her. And if she could come back from it, it's going to be because of that thing. She was stuck in that rut, and she was stuck in that same mental loop. And her friend just said, hold on. You want to do this with Rob. Rob sounds like the strongest person. Why would you do that? It's the same conversation I had with Annalise. Annalise said to me, Jeanne, when are you going to move on Vanna? Because if you don't, he's going to win. And I went, I knew that. I just couldn't, it was like I had to have a little slap, get me back in reality. So those kind of things I promise you, I can't even explain to you the difference that it makes. But Sheldon, I agree with you. Steffi was different for me in this episode. Sorry, I just need to. Okay, where are we? Terrence says, do you think it's a good thing that Steffi didn't make a move to get Rob out, even with the advice from her friend? I don't know whether Steffi has enough. I don't know if she would have been able to deal with the aftermath of making that move. Because Rob and Nicole would have turned on her and said exactly the same thing she said to Jacques, and she would have been really attacked. But at some point she's going to have to turn, but I'm not sure whether she's going to be able to do it, because remember, she's got very black and white views of the game, and I don't know whether she's going to be able to just switch it up and be like, I'm done with that thought that you can't lie in this game, and all of a sudden just lie and be that other person. I'm not sure she's going to be able to do it. And if she doesn't, I have a feeling, and it's going to happen in the next episode, I think Steffi's going to want to flip, right? Think about this. Who's she going to go to? Mike and Doral. What is Doral going to do? Doral is going to tell Rob. What is Rob going to do? How dare you come at me? You'll be the next to go. If Steffi doesn't win immunity at the next challenge, I predict she will be going home. That's my prediction. I don't think Steffi makes it all the way to the end. She would be somebody who would be a good option to take to the end, just purely based on how the jury has received her. I think that her people turn on her in the next episode. I can't believe they don't see the threat in Rob. Both Steffi and Mike said they would work with Rob still for a few episodes. It will be too late at that stage. But the question is, do people, like, who knows about Rob's idol? Not a lot of people. Durao knows. And if Durao is smart in the next episode, they will gun for Rob, but they will have to do it so smart, because if they don't, he's going to play an idol and he'll still be there. In the next episode, what could happen? Say, for instance, Mike is on the bottom and he wins again. Durao will be the one on Steffi, Letitia, and Rob's radar. But let's remember that Letitia now has an idol. She stumbles upon an idol. She's looking for an idol. She sees Jacques looking for an idol. She finds it. And she now has this thing. If Letitia can play that idol in like a smart and badass and big way, she could essentially make a move big enough to, at the end of this game, if she sits in the final 3, she could win R1 million. I would have loved, and I want to read you the question from Bianca she sent me. She said, don't you think Tani Letitia could have turned this game right around? She could have played her idol for Jacques, knowing full well that she would save him and put herself in the majority with him. Mike, and get Durao to flip. No one would see it coming. They would have been unstoppable. Now Tani Lee could have blindsided Steffi and taken this game over completely. Maybe had a chance to win Survivor. Jacques could have used his reward steal with Letitia for the Loved Ones challenge as well, and they could have been a dream team. It could have been perfect. If she'd made a huge move like that, the jury would have definitely voted her way come the final 2. Now she's going to have one more week left to save herself with an idol and get voted out the following week, because she's easy pickings now. Nowhere left to hide. This game sucks now, and the only person left who can fly the flag is Mike. The rest all suck and just follow like little sheep. Big moves are too late now because everyone has idols to play. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. That's exactly, after the episode, it's exactly what I said to somebody. I said, you know what? Tani Letitia should have played that idol for Jacques, and she could have then had Jacques, Mike, Durao, and herself, and taken out the rest. It would have been beautiful to watch. Imagine Tani Letitia underestimated for everything she's worth, and she comes out, bam, here's an idol. I'm not going to play it for myself because that's like predictable. Jacques, save Jacques, biggest player in the game, bah. And then she plays. The only problem is I think Tani Letitia in her voting confessional said Jacques is too strong, none of us can beat him. So I don't know whether in her brain Tani Letitia thinks that she's got a better opportunity against somebody like Rob as opposed to Jacques. But I think the jury would have respected her game a lot more if she had done that and saved Jacques with that idol. But yeah, people forget Mike is only 21 and he's playing better than most. That's what I mean about Mike. I have a super soft spot for him. This game is exceptionally tough, and it's an emotional roller coaster, and you have to have so much emotional IQ, not only about the other people but yourself. You have to understand where you sit and your dynamics and your social interaction with other people. You have to understand where it is that you sit in the game, and you have to understand, you have to be able to read people socially to figure out how they feel about you. And it's hard because people lie with such straight faces, and you're like, oh my God, jeez. When I was watching the series back, I was like, whoa, okay, I had a very different understanding of where I was in the game. But Mike has been able to play it with he's very young. I think he's 22 now. But I think he's 21 when he started the game, and he is playing with such maturity and calmness. For me, Mike's game is calm. He had a bit of, in the previous episode when he had the jingle bells thing, he had a bit of a mental meltdown for me. But he is playing with such integrity and such maturity that I have a lot of respect for him. Does Durao not remind you of Ace from your season? He does have tendencies. That is a great comparison. I agree. He has got tendencies. Although I will say, I'm not sure that Durao can sing as well as Ace. Ace had a beautiful voice. Loudmouth says, could Mike still have handed the immunity necklace to Jacques after the vote, but before the vote reveal? If he had given it to Jacques, that would have been a shake-up. I don't think so. There's a moment when Nico says, Mike, you have the necklace. Nobody can vote for you. You're gonna keep it. And then they normally say, yeah. I think if that moment there, you have an opportunity to switch. But I think and that necklace, if you played it for somebody else, generally they would just turn around and vote for you. So if Mike had said, I'm going to play this for Jacques, the team wouldn't scramble and be all weird about it. They would probably vote Mike out. So that wouldn't have been best. Bianca CM said no. Nicole said that. Oh, the jury bit. That's right. It was Nicole. The fact that they don't think the jury is important. I don't know. God. Do you think that Nicole is a huge fan of this game? Sometimes with statements like that, I think it's people who don't watch this game a lot and don't have, and maybe they watch it for the things like the challenges and things like that. But when somebody says that, then I just think you maybe are not a huge fan of the game. I don't know. I don't know how you think of that. Why did Jacques blow up that Steffi was the decoy vote? Why did Jacques blow? Why would Jacques have said that Steffi would have been the decoy vote? I mean, he's clutching at straws. But did you see Steffi's face? She was in tears. She was, she did not like that at all. And I think this is where it swings round, because even though they told her, they said, Steffi, we're going to tell them we're voting for you, and tell them to vote for you. That moment when your votes get read, even though you know that that's what the plan was, it still hurts like a MFer. I'm not going to swear at you people because I might get vitriolic response. So that moment where you see your name and it comes so close, that she would have thought that her tribe didn't have her back. And it does suck because you think, well, there's another 3 names. Why would my name have to be the decoy? Why not Nicole? Why not Letitia? So that moment where your names get written, you also realize, oh shit, am I on the bottom of this fall? And I think that's where you sort of get. So there's a danger of making somebody your diversion basically on the game. And yeah, Rob's plan was to do that so that he could play an idol, and it was all very complicated. But essentially, I think he's pushed Steffi to a point now. I think she's gonna want to play, and especially with her advice from her loved one. So I think Steffi's gonna come for them. Jacques, would your hair be clean at time? Yeah, the finale, Jacques, please. As it stands, these people on the jury are moerselike people. I mean, it's so lucky that that's from Jacques, by the way. I agree. The people on the jury are some of the best characters in the game, and they're sitting there. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough to watch your favorite characters go out, and to see them sitting on the jury. But again, to discount them is like big problems. Big problems. All right. Hey, Varys is here. Too wrong. Hey, this just can't. Okay, now y'all are just having a party without me. I can't keep up with these comments. Okay. I feel my Letitia needs to not play the idol to save someone, because she will look like she will be a threat now. Yeah, but the problem is, if you don't do something big, you're just going to go to the end and be a goat because nobody's going to vote for you. You have to build up some sort of a resume. So it's going to be interesting. Let me get to some of these questions. Hey, these comments are going boss. It would be so badass if she is in final 3 and whips out the idol. But if she didn't play it, Steffi got the reality check when she got 3 votes. Yes, she did. Taryn says, will Doral ever leave Rob? He's so dumb if he thinks he can win the $1 million against Rob. I feel so many people are forgetting who gives you the money in the end. Absolutely. Hey, Rob is here. Why is it so hard for me to get on Survivor? Going to enter again if there's a next one. I will give you some advice about entering at the end of this. Where Rob, she realizes that she was next. That's what happens when she was shocked her team would vote for her. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a reality check. If anybody talks to Rob, he's out. He's not allowed to talk to anybody. Yeah, you'll be judged. Where are we? Remember, Rob told her that 2 were voting for Letitia, so she never saw it coming. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. That reality check from having seen your name written down is hectic. You never want that to happen. Vadi says, is Rob the negotiator or the equalizer? Who is Happy Gilmore? Serious questions here on a Sunday evening from Varis, Yober, from Secunda. I don't know who the negotiator is, but I think that Doral is definitely Happy Gilmore. And maybe Nicole is the equalizer. So, yeah, Rob is the negotiator, I think. Hey, Varis, gaan trek huis toe asseblief. Sheldon says, likelihood of a fire-making Final Four twist as the last Islands of Secrets. You know what? I know that LaRue watches a lot of American Survivor, but there's some things he doesn't like about it. And he knows that the fans don't enjoy that fire-making twist. So my prediction would be that he would probably side on the fan side of things and wouldn't put something that everybody dislikes so much into the game. And I know that, I'm not sure that he's a huge fan of that fire-making thing. So we'll see. Couple more questions have come up. Did you also see a renewed positivity in how Steffi came across last episode, similar to Tom by Final 6? I did, and I think it was that Loved Ones challenge. I mentioned that. I think she had sort of a renewed, sort of like a reality slap. Bah! You've come to this game. You better play the game. Rob is in the. She's literally, the person hasn't been watching the episode. She's coming on, had a conversation. Who's running the game? Who's this person? Who's that? And then she says, okay, but now you just told me that Rob is this king of everything. Now you want to work with him. And Steffi's like, yeah, that doesn't sound smart. She had a bit of a reality check there. Oh my God, I can't. We got to your question, Bianca. So it's a couple of questions that have come in. Varys, did you drink? What? Yay, he only drinks coffee, that guy. Durao is falling for Rob's tricks. That's why we love LaRue. Love them or hate them, props has to go to the Amigas for sticking together. We are so used to blindsides that we forget to celebrate successful alliances. Do you know what I've noticed? That in South African Survivor, generally, the alliances stick together. We had an alliance of 5 and we stuck together right until the end. As surprised as a lot of people were that we didn't shake things up. You have to give credit where credit is due. Nicole, Rob, Steffi are playing a strong game. We can sit at home, we can judge the little things that we think they're doing that aren't so smart. We can judge it from here. You never know how difficult it is. Rob, Jacques, Mike, these are people who watch this every now and again. They've said to me, it's nice that you bring in the reality of how difficult it is, because even in Jacques' Ponderosa video, he mentions the hunger is something that you almost try and prepare yourself for, but the things you can't figure out is the lack of sleep and the paranoia. Those are things you can never be prepared for. I said I would give advice on entering Survivor. Somebody said they've entered and they've never made it through. My advice to you is, as a viewer of Survivor, you need to know and you radiate towards certain characters, right? So on the show, we've got Tani Letitia. She's the old lady. We've got Jacques, who's the underdog. He's the skinny guy. Massive fan of the game. We've got Mike, who's the younger guy. He is a lovable character. He is a fan of the game. We've got Rob, who's the suave, very charismatic and charming guy. We've got Nicole, who's the ice queen. She's this badass, just going to take names and just be the mean girl. Got Steffi, dynamic, huge physical threat. You have to figure out what your character is, and in your entry video, tell me what character that is, and you have to sell yourself. You have to be able to do a confessional. You can't sound scripted. That is the biggest problem people do, is they write a script and then they read it. You've got to be off the cuff, because that is what Survivor is about. It's a reality show. You have to be able to think on your feet and formulate thoughts, and you have to sound good. I don't want to watch somebody who's like, how are you feeling today, Jeanne? Ja, lekker. Okay, you've got to be able to have a good persona on TV. And if you realize that that's not going to be you, unfortunately, Survivor's not your game. Survivor's a TV show. It's got to be entertaining. And if you can't figure out who your character is, you have to make one up and figure out who you are. I knew I was the feminist. I knew I was going to be hard-ass. I was going to be the class clown. I was going to make fun. I was going to be funny. I was going to be confident. And I knew I was going to be good TV in terms of confessionals, because I work in radio and I speak for a living. That's what we do. So you have to figure out who you are and play that in your entry video. And make sure you sell it. You don't have to be like, I'm going to be this character. But in your entry video, play that character. I said I was going to be good at puzzles. I did a puzzle. It was a Spider-Man puzzle. It was a kitty's puzzle because I was making a joke. I didn't know I was going to be good at puzzles, and then I was. That's the kind of thing you need to play in your video and tell them why you will be good on TV. I don't want to just hear about, I've got 3 kids, so I'm going to be like because I'm a dad, and I play like a survivor. I watch it on TV, so I'm going to be like a guy. No! Tell me why you'll be a good character. Think like a casting director. And if you don't know what they do, go and find out what they do and how their process works and play a character. That's my advice to you. Supernova says, the loudmouth, but Amigos was blindsided pretty much. Yeah. When you read the letters from home, do you think it can make you weaker? Absolutely can make you weaker. We've only got a couple of minutes left. If you have something that you need to ask it now. The loved ones letters, they take you from the game, and it can renew you. It can give you the clap that you need, a little reality check, but it also can make you start thinking too much about home. I've mentioned a couple times, and if you're new to this thread, I've mentioned a couple, you can go find them on YouTube, the previous ones. I spoke a lot about the loved ones letters, how they can make you focus too much on home, because sometimes you get removed from the game because you're in your letters, and then you start thinking about somebody sick at home, you start thinking about your job or your business or your family, and then you're in this moment here, you're not there, you're here, you're in the letter, you're at home, you're thinking, your emotions, all of your emotional and EQ is here in this letter, and it's not in the game. And that's dangerous. For me, it was easy because my letter wasn't an emotional letter. It was from my best friend. It wasn't from my mom or my dad or my brother. It wasn't from somebody work saying you don't have a job anymore. It was from my best friend, and she was just like, hey, everybody's cool, they're so proud of you, well done, bye. And I knew exactly what would be in the letter because we're those kind of people. So we're not like super emotional humans, and so it wasn't a huge thing for me. But for people like parents, wives, husbands, people who own businesses, those kind of responsibilities, you have to put them somewhere in the back of your mind. The letter brings them forward, and it can be a hindrance for you in the game. But at this point, I'm not seeing that happen. So for Steffi, seeing her loved one was a reality check that she needed to play the game. And let's see if it's going to work out next week, and who wins immunity, because that's key in the next vote. Because if somebody like Rob wins it, then Mike and Doral and Steffi they're open for business. But if somebody like Mike or Doral win it, then it becomes more complicated. And then we're going to see, I promise you, if anybody plays an idol, Nicole, Letitia, Rob will play his idol. That's what his brain is wired to do. So we could have a huge idol train happening next week. So if Rob plays his idol, Letitia plays her idol, and Nicole plays her idol, there is only Steffi left, Nicole left, Mike left, Doral left. One of them will have immunity, maybe. Yes, because you wouldn't play an idol if you had immunity. So it's going to be, there's only going to be 2 votes, maybe next week, if everybody plays idols. It's going to be a shit show, everybody. But let's hope it's dynamic to watch. Who would I give R1,000,000 to? I would give R1,000,000 to Rob. It would annoy me, but I would. I would give R1,000,000 to Mike. I would give R1,000,000 to Letitia. And I would have to give R1,000,000 to Nicole too. You know what? I'd have to give it to anybody left in the game. You've gone that far. You've played hard. You've put everything on the line. And yeah. But my front runners at the moment, I think Rob has played the game really well. And Mike. Those would be my 2 that I'd really love to win. Just because I think it would be people who played the game really well and you know, made it all the way to the end. But for me, Tani Letitia has a soft spot for me as well. If she made it to the end and she won R1,000,000, I wouldn't be upset about it. So yeah. I need to ask, what is the question for tickets next week? I will ask it next week, and by the end of the thread, I will give somebody tickets to the finale. Why do you think you'd be cast in La May for the season if you were in it? Because LaRue said so. I don't know why. That's what he said. This video is going to come to an end soon. I also want to know, Marius. It's going to be next week. Thanks for the tip, Jean. Yeah, you're welcome. I'll also be your date. Marius, excuse you. I'll tell my husband, Marius. Oh, you guys. Oh, I thought you were talking about me. 30 seconds. I'm entering season 8 next. Need to shake this game up, and at the end, I don't have to beg for tickets. It's absolutely true. Also gonna root. Also going that route, Marius. Geez, Jeanne being Oprah up in here. You get $1 million. You get